was all about trans women in sports, you know.
Really?
And yeah,
Did it show any females?
it did show some, but like trans women was like a big part of it.
I want to
push.
We're gonna do like we have this interesting segue from this conversation into Ukraine, surprisingly, but you know, I guess in this day and age, we have the story from Business Insider, how a transgender Ukrainian man escaped Russia's invasion. I painted my nails violet and wore mom's shirt to look more girly. We then have this story from TMZ. Transgender woman, I'm fighting 2 wars in Ukraine, fears Russians and transphobic Ukrainians. So this is interesting because in the story about the trans woman, in Ukraine, because of the war, they announced if you were 16 to 60-year-old man, you could not leave the country. Legally in Ukraine, a trans woman is a man. Whatever your political opinion is on it, that's the view of the Ukrainian government. I do think it's funny that the left is just like totally on board with Ukraine. I get it, you know, the Russian invasion is a bad thing, but you got like Nazis there, and it's like the government is transphobic, but whatever. So you have this story where this trans woman is like, you know, I'm a woman and I can't leave because of this rule. Then you have this other story about a trans man. So this person is born female, paints their nails, and wears feminine clothing to be able to escape the country. To me, it's interesting. You know, I'm wondering, there have been a lot of men, males, who fled Ukraine as well as well as women and
Just
children.
like the Titanic.
Right. I mean, and I understand if someone's like, I don't want to fight in a war and they want to get out, but this is like your country is being invaded. The interesting thing to me is, I understand these are 2 unique individuals, and we're not talking about a group here.
Actually, they're trying to not fight any.
Right. Right, exactly. Not the
So-
gender war, not any.
We talked about Leah Thomas, I think something else. So this is the biological male trans woman who's competing against females in college swimming.
At
But
UPenn,
yeah, at UPenn. There's also a trans man, so someone born female who got top surgery and competes against
Isaac Hennig
Isaac Hennig.
at Yale.
So my issue is, it's I mean, obviously the Ukraine thing is a situation of war, like that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, anybody who wants to get out is worried. When it comes to the college swimming thing, my question to the platform, which they have no answer for, I mean, it's is, okay, so if you're saying that a trans woman is a woman, and men should be allowed to compete in the women's division, because the women's division is a social construct division, right? Is it yes? Okay. Isaac is a man, identified as a trans man, therefore they shouldn't be allowed. And they say, but Isaac's not taking testosterone.
Right, that's the excuse.
So we're talking about biology or society?
They don't know.
Well, whatever suits they are.
Well, it all flows in one direction. Like, whether it's a trans man or a trans woman, they're both trying to find a way to leave the country. The trans woman says, but I'm a woman, you can't say I'm a man. The trans man says, I'm going to paint my nails and wear women's clothing.
What I don't understand is why is the person who is female but trans as a man, why do they have to do anything? Like, if they're a female, why wouldn't they just walk in the order?
So the
I
interesting,
mean,
well,
because the
nail
thing
polish
is,
is not-
if you're a female, right, you can have short hair, and you can, I know this is crazy, but you can wear a suit, wear button-down shirts, wear men's shoes if you're a female, and it doesn't change anything about being a female.
I heard
You
that
can
women
even
can
keep
be
your
gay.
fingernails super short and unpainted,
I
and
don't-
you still are female.
No, but I think one of the big issues in the culture war is that whatever our faction is, we assume too much about the other side's beliefs and understandings of things. Now, I think it's fair to say that they don't think that a woman can have short hair or these things.
Well, no.
If a young girl says, I want short hair and I want to wear blue jeans, they ask the child is trans. They
Now
don't
they
say,
do,
yeah, they don't say, well, maybe you just like short hair. It's become like, if you have, this is the strange thing to me about it, maybe I should understand, that if you have a child who says, a little boy says, I like dolls, then all of a sudden you have conversations about whether the child's trans, but the child doesn't understand sexuality, doesn't understand
Right, and they just like stuff. And you don't even know why they like stuff. Like, maybe they like dolls because they like the color and the texture, you know, or being able to tell stories with dolls. Sure, sticking their trucks, you know, whatever it is. But we don't ask children what it is that they like.
Yeah, but sometimes the joints of the dollar make the dollar.
Yeah, they're kind of cool. I had one where you press the button on the back and she looked at you. It was Western Barbie.
Matt Walsh brought this up after the Dr. Phil thing he did. He said if his boy or his son came to him and said, the girl said, "Ask what you want," and often you'll hear him say,
Let's keep the pressure on. Victory is close.
It's funny because hearing Matt talk about stuff like that, it's like that used to be progressive.
That was the original, that was like much of the feminist perspective, right? If you're a woman, you can dress and behave however you want. You can dress the way men stereotypically dress. You can behave the way men stereotypically behave. You can do any of that, right? You can sleep around. You can do whatever. It's fine. And now we've switched all that up. We have taken the gender stereotypes and embedded them further.
Yeah, it seems like the modern progressive leftist worldview is that there are social behaviors intrinsic to sex. Isn't it? Yeah, I'm just confused by it now.
There was a case discussed on the BBC, and a little boy lived with his mum, and she had 2 towels after she had showered for her hair and her wig. And one day he said, "I'd like 2 towels." She said, "You don't need 2 towels." He said, "But I'm a girl." And so she went to bed that night and talked to him about him being a girl. Not that he just wanted 2 damn towels. And then he started on his road to transition at like 7, socially transition.
That is messed up.
It's just so weird.
My son uses like 4 towels. I don't know what he uses them for. I come into the bathroom,
Well,
I'm like,
why-
"You really needed all these towels?"
Why did she say he didn't need towels? He is her.
I have no idea. This is her very brave journey about discovering that her son was really a girl. And so I
But
think
the
she thought that
question
was a good
is-
thing to say.
But I think the question is, what about this child saying that the girl is I mean, obviously,
For her,
like right. So like, what makes you think from saying I want 2 towels, saying that
Let's
your
keep the pressure on.
makes the leap to
Victory is
her
close.
biology is wrong, medication I'm assuming that you're a doctor, right?
for me, if we assume she hasn't got something like hypoxia, there is a lot of social status for average people to gain by doing this great, super wonderful mother. And it is women, unfortunately, it's women that go along with this narrative with their kids. It's not so much dads.
Well, it's
Yeah,
sort
yeah,
of
like
a
it's
feminist
sexist.
fashion, where we have taken the ideas of feminism.
I don't think words. I think it's what's popular.
That's correct.
What is feminism?
That was intentional. We were actually, before we went off tonight, Kelly and I were looking at the definition of gender and gender identity. And they're the same. They basically have the same definition.
Which word? Gender identity.
Gender and gender identity are all about like the person's self, your name,
Yeah.
which isn't anything. Like it's just absurd. We've taken and we gaze in so deeply that we think we see something, and it's not.
I just try to
It's just
avoid
not
all
there.
of that social argument stuff by just saying sex.
Well, that works out.
So I'll say like male and females and men. And I'm just like, there you go. Fine.
it still doesn't work. Maybe it means much less.
But we're in this really bizarre sort of idea that our bodies are not connected to who we are. I mean, I am my body. If I was taller, I'm sure I'd be slightly different. If I was a lot shorter, I don't know if that's possible. But if I was a lot shorter, I'd be a completely different person. Of course, if I was a man walking around in the world with a testosterone and being a man, being treated like a man, there's a there's a transaction between me and the society in which I live, and we both kind of find out what and who I am. It's not just up to me, it's not just up to them. And it's bizarre that we're deciding that gender is separate. That your internal sense of self is a social construct. It's the most stupid idea, and it doesn't make any sense.
About someone in prison, maybe how to be more adaptable and a sense of what do you think I am? What are you? Who are you? And then they beat the hell cell, and like when people are getting like sexually assaulted in prison and like over and over and over and over again by some big guy, and it's a guy and he's like, I'm not gay, but I have to create a new reality for who I am in this situation, and so they create like a new gender almost to exist within that without being insane. So I understand that that's happening to people. I think it's honestly, if you zoom out, I think it's happening because like there's so many people on Earth misproportioned in cities, and all these phenolphthalates in the water, and pharmaceuticals like making people androgynous and making people kind of, it's like
Isn't that
shaving
like a
off.
conspiracy theory?
I don't know. It just seems logical.
Isn't that true though? That birth control is in public drinking water?
Yeah,
Yeah, I heard that too.
pharmaceuticals go into the toilet
true,
in the
though?
pee when people pee them out after they eat the Prozac, and then that gets in the water supply. People are all really, really messed up, and it might just be a process of the human race kind of shedding its skin.
Look at that. Yeah, it's a.
That's a fact. Yep.
So we got the story from Insider. Birth control pills
That
could
is
add 10 million
creepy.
doses of hormones to our wastewater every day.
Frogs.
Some of that estrogen may wind up in our taps.
Yep.
Yeah, this is a story I heard about a while back. Hormones from birth control pills can travel through showers, toilets, and washing machines to local wastewater facilities. In his book, Troubled Water, activist Seth Siegel writes that birth control pills add more than 10 million doses of synthetic estrogen to U.S. wastewater every day. From there, hormones could get discharged into rivers and lakes that serve as sources of drinking water. Only a tiny portion of the estrogen in wastewater makes its way to these taps, but Siegel still thinks it should be avoided. So I think maybe it's a bit exaggerated to feel like turning tap water on with birth control in it. It looks like it could be an issue.
We all also aren't having enough to get pregnant.
What is that?
Like they're starting to have enough kids.
Or trying enough?
There's a lot of trying and there's a lot of not having. Like what? There's that. There's like being older, and then there's being older is one of the things, but there's also the issues of fertility. I don't have enough information.
High fructose corn syrup, aspartame, birth control. Well, how many oxycodone, how many of these pharmaceuticals are getting pissed into the water supply?
What are your guys' thoughts on birth control?
I have lots of thoughts on it. So I went on birth control when I was 16. My doctor said that I had polycystic ovarian syndrome. So I did go on birth control. And then I was on it for a very long time. I was on it until I was 32.